I was jolted awake at 6 a.m. by a bulldozer rumbling in my backyard. At first, I thought I was dreaming. There's no way heavy machinery was tearing up my land at dawn. But the vibrations, the metal-on-dirt scraping, the unmistakable beep-beep of a backhoe in reverse, it was all real. I scrambled out of bed, still half asleep, in nothing but boxers and a t-shirt, and stumbled outside. My backyard, or what used to be a quiet patch of land, now looked like a construction site. A trench was being carved right down the middle, with men in orange vests pacing around like they owned the place. One of them, clipboard in hand and looking way too comfortable for 6 a.m., glanced at me like I was the intruder. "What in the world are you doing?" I demanded, voice cracking with sleep and disbelief. He barely looked up. "Laying the new water line for Oakwood Heights HOA. Should be done in a couple days." I stared at him. "That's impressive, considering this isn't Oakwood Heights. This is my land. Let me back up. My name's Ethan. I'm a land surveyor, which is about to become hilariously relevant. A few years ago, I inherited 10 acres of rugged, undeveloped land just outside a fancy, HOA-controlled suburb called Oakwood Heights. The kind of place with identical lawns, surveillance cameras on every corner, and bylaws about holiday lights and mailbox paint colors. A textbook HOA nightmare. I never joined their HOA because, say it with me, I don't. Live. There. My property is legally distinct, adjacent to the neighborhood, and entirely mine. I use it for storage, weekend camping, and occasionally escaping from the kind of people who argue about lawn height. Yet somehow, these HOA folks decided my land was up for grabs. About 2 weeks before the bulldozer wake-up call, I spotted 2 men near the edge of my property with tripods and clipboards. As a surveyor, I don't take kindly to unannounced guests with measuring tools. I confronted them, and they mumbled something about utilities assessments and infrastructure upgrades. I assumed they were working on the Oakwood side of the boundary and let it slide. Big mistake. Cut to that morning. A literal trench was growing deeper by the minute. I told the foreman to stop everything. His response? Take it up with the HOA. The nerve. I looked at him like he'd grown a second head. If I dug a pool in your living room, should I tell you to call your landlord? He shrugged, clearly underpaid to care. Later that afternoon, Lydia showed up. Every HOA has a Lydia. You know the type, perfect hair, power suit, clipboard like it's a sword. She pulled up in a pristine SUV and approached with the confidence of someone used to winning. "We understand there's been some confusion," she began. "I'm not confused," I shot back. "You're building a pipeline through land you don't own." She gave me a smile that could curdle milk. "Our plans showed this as part of the utility corridor. A clerical error. I'm sure we can sort this peacefully." "You mean peacefully halting construction and leaving?" She chuckled, brushing imaginary dust from her blazer. "Let's not overreact. It's just dirt, Han, you're not using it. Few things ignite pure fury like being called Han, while someone bulldozes your property." But I kept calm. You don't win these things by shouting. You win by making them feel safe right before you flip the switch. I told her I'd consult my lawyer. She nodded like I was a child playing dress-up and drove off. Smug as ever. What she didn't know was I was already on the phone. Not just mad, curious. As a land surveyor, I know property boundaries. I eat easements and rights-of-way for breakfast. And I had a trump card. No easement existed on my land. That pipeline? A legal disaster. I spent the next few days gathering evidence, deeds, county records, every line of my inherited title. No right-of-way, no approvals, no permissions. Just entitlement and audacity. And then I struck gold. The underground water source they were tapping? It ran under my land. And I held senior water rights. Suddenly, their shiny new pipeline was connected to a resource I controlled. I didn't tip off Lydia. No angry letters. No dramatic declarations. Just a quiet call to the regional water district. While their newsletter bragged about their new HOA-owned water system, I filed paperwork that flipped the whole situation on its head. They thought they were taking something. They didn't know I owned the thing they needed. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and with notarized documents. I built my case like a fortress, deeds, water rights, survey maps, photos. I even had an old favor called in from a county official who helped verify everything. I was legally bulletproof. I waited. Let them lay the pipes. Let them connect every home in Oakwood Heights. Let them celebrate. Because when I shut it off, I wanted it to hurt. Once the water district confirmed my rights, I filed a cease and desist. Not a dramatic one, just a calm, lawyer-approved letter that said, "Hey, you're using my aquifer without permission. Please stop." Summer came. Lawns dried. Sprinklers sputtered. Furious emails flew through the HOA. The residents, once proudly showing off their emerald lawns, now faced yellow patches and dead flower beds. Lydia came back, this time less confident. No pearls. No crisp suit. Just sunglasses and a fat folder. "We need to talk," she said. "Oh, now we talk. What happened to just dirt, hon?" She didn't rise to the bait. "There's been an unfortunate issue with the water supply." Unfortunate is one word. Illegal is another. She blamed outdated maps and miscommunications. Claimed they acted in good faith. I let her talk. Then I laid it out, $500 a day trespassing fines. Plus, I had a buyer lined up. A local farming co-op with deep pockets and an interest in water access. She paled. "Can we settle this quietly?" "Sure," I said. $250,000 and a public apology. She laughed. Until the lawns died. By midsummer, the HOA was in chaos. Residents started attending board meetings in droves. Some demanded answers. Others, my personal favorite, spray-painted "Free the Water" on community signs. Then a twist. I got a visit from Ryan, a resident. He wasn't angry. Just tired. Half the neighborhood hates you. Half wants your lawyer. "Fair split," I said. He told me something that chilled me. This wasn't the first land grab. A year ago, the HOA bulldozed a path through the Wilsons' property. An elderly couple who took a payout to stay quiet. Now it wasn't just about me. It was about stopping a pattern. My price stayed firm. $250,000. A public apology. And an agreement that they'd never build another thing on my land. They tried to lowball. Offered $5,000. I countered with $20,000 in fines alone. Eventually they caved. The board president read a stiff apology on video. The HOA wired me the money. I installed a valve on the pipeline with a lock and a sign that read, "Private property. Water rights enforced." Word spread. Other residents investigated. More easement scams came to light. Oakwood's shine faded. Property listings dropped. Developers backed out. Meanwhile, I upgraded my land. Solar panels. Water tanks. Even a mural of me holding a valve, cape and all. Call it petty. I call it justice. The pipeline? Still mine. Legally and physically. Grass regrew. People nodded or waved when passing my land. I had beaten the HOA with wits, patience, and a red valve. Because in the end, control isn't about brute force. It's about knowing your lines and making sure no one dares to cross them.